Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Annie Exclusive on IKTV. Alright, I'm your host Joanne Zilon Richardson. I know y'all ain't gonna forget it anyway, but still, yeah. Okay, so today we are going to be delving into Vincentian lifestyle and I guess a bit of the law. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so my guests today are two lawyers. And I'm gonna make trouble here today. Today I can see trouble. We had a little trouble before we even began, so we're gonna have more trouble today, right? Okay, so my guest is Sigilla McDowell. It's a pleasure having you in studio.
Yes.
And Mandela Campbell. It's a pleasure having you.
Pleasure to be here.
I know you know stranger to the face of IKTV, you know. You've been on, Tony
true.
Regisford, Crab and Callaloo for the Mandela thing.
Yes.
That was a bit interesting, you know. Mandela speaking about Mandela.
Yes, it was.
I hope you guys need to look out for it on Independence Day, okay? Just so you know, this is recorded just before Independence, so when you see it, you know, yeah, that is probably why I'm in my blue and thing, you know, you're gonna let us slide.
And I have my cute pin. And
yeah. She have.
Okay, so I forgot my pin, but I'm patriotic at heart.
At heart.
Yeah, deep.
We're not seeing the heart right now, you know. I think you need to go and get it. Go. No, don't.
It's abstract. It's okay.
But me never tell you so me could understand abstract art.
Don't you see it? Man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. Amen? Amen.
Oh, okay. I can't say anything else against that. Okay, so today we're going to be dealing with Caribbean Advocates, SVG Advocates. You guys are having a conference on the 7th to the 9th.
Yes.
So that is the meat of the matter. But before we get there, we need to know a little bit about you guys. So I'm going to start with Mandela. Okay. Tell us a bit about you. Besides the fact that you're the daughter of a PR, Pamela Campbell.
Okay, well, as you heard, my name is Mandela Campbell. I am 27 years old. Yes, I shared my age, not ashamed. I'm a lawyer by profession. I am a Christian, and I enjoy life. I enjoy loving God.
Okay, and Sigilla?
Okay, my name is Sigilla McDowell, and I am a lawyer, but I am not in the private bar. I'm a prosecutor, so I won't be able to defend anyone.
Oh, so that is why you shut me down early?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right, so I am a proud Christian. I engage in a lot of ministry events, but in this context, I appear in this interview represented Advocates SVG, and in other circles, I am a part of the Exalt Emotion Ministry, and I attend the Fair Hall Church of God. So all things God and law, of course.
All right. So this season seems to always make sure we mention God. I like that.
Yes.
I really like that. Okay. So I'm gonna get the ball rolling. I'm gonna start Mandela. Tell us a bit about Advocates SVG.
Okay, Advocates SVG. It's a group of Christian attorneys. We were launched on the 24th of May, 2014. And we were launched under the theme, Set Apart for Christ, Romans 12:1-2. And that's exactly what we are. We're Christian attorneys and we're set apart for Christ to do His will through the legal profession. Three of our goals include, one includes interceding for the legal profession and for the nation. The second objective is to evangelize to and through the legal profession. And also we would speak out on issues of truth and justice as they arise. Currently, we are 8 members strong, and we're all young attorneys, all under the age of 30, I believe.
I guess that
Correct.
just ratted out your age because you didn't mention your age.
She's estimating. That's good.
Right. Okay, so you guys just started in May, but have you done anything huge so far for the year?
Well, what we're doing so far for the year is what we're going to talk about later on today.
Right.
So our launch, it wasn't huge. It was more low key, but it was a fantastic event where the Honorable Madam Justice of Appeal, Alice York Suhan of the Court of Appeal of Trinidad and Tobago, she was here. She's a part of an organization called Lawyers for Jesus, which is a similar organization that was established in Trinidad and Tobago since the 1980s. So she was here and she was a featured speaker at the launch, and she spoke about being set apart for Christ. And you know, those who turned out were really blessed by what she shared. So that was our first sort of outreach, launching and outreach at the same time. And this project that we're going to share about a little later on is the next big project we have.
Okay, so Cedra, I must start the questioning going, you know, where we have the boxing matches and thing, right?
Go right ahead.
Okay, so for you, right, you are a lawyer and a Christian. Well, all of you in this group are. But normally persons don't expect lawyers and doctors and stuff to be Christian. What was that like for you?
What was that like, or what is it like?
Sorry, what is it like for you?
It's a continuing issue that we have to face. You know, persons continue to point fingers and make, you know, scathing remarks about lawyers being liars. And,
that's one,
you know, there's always
so well known.
It is too well known, yes, but it is still a fallacy. All lawyers are not liars. You know, I like to use a deduction to help people to understand the flaw in it, right? As human beings, we are all prone to lie. But, you know, if lawyers are liars, everybody lies, but everybody's not a lawyer. So there must be some error somewhere in there, right? Everybody lies. But what we are saying as Christian lawyers is that there must be a point in your life where you recognize there's a sin, there's always going to be opportunity to sin. So when I say everybody lies, there is going to be opportunities to lie, but you have to make a conscious decision not to lie. You know, if to say, I never tell lies, it's a lie, because sometimes you unconsciously, and when circumstances arise, you might feel that a little, as they call it, a white lie can help you to pass the discomforts. But lawyers and other professionals, they can operate within their Christianity. It's not that Christianity is exclusive to certain professions. So that lawyers, you know, lawyers must be able to receive salvation. Otherwise, the fact that God came, Jesus sent his son to die for us, it will not be true, because lawyers will be exempt. So I want everybody to really look beyond all of these little stereotypes. And it's a running joke, but it's not funny, you know? After a while, it gets a little bit
annoying. Yeah,
annoying, because we are making a conscious effort to live for Christ. There will be challenges, but we ask in person. So at least oblige us, you know, give us a little grace. God will give us the rest, because he always gives us. But, you know, person should at least, you know, reconsider.
And take it because I mean I can go online and pull up I guess I can probably pull up to 1,000 jokes about lawyers, and there's probably only one that actually that I think is clean.
But it's not that.
What did the lawyer call his daughter? You know,
I don't know lawyer jokes because we don't go to look for them, right?
What did the lawyer call his daughter?
Sue.
My dad should have named me Sue. I'm happy he didn't. I'm very happy about my name.
Okay, so I'm guessing you just exempted yourself from this question because you're not a defense lawyer. You're a prosecutor. You make sure people go to jail for their
I don't make sure of anything. As a prosecutor, we are actually ministers of justice, and people in this society would have certain views about prosecutors. But
like mine just now. Like you make sure people go to jail.
Yes, like that. We don't make sure.
Right, okay. So, Manda, you're a defense attorney, right?
I'm not a criminal defense attorney, no. I don't practice in the criminal arena.
Okay,
mainly civil law,
civil.
Yes.
Okay, but I'm guessing the question would still apply, right? Let's say the need comes up for you to, I'm running on this lie story, right? The need comes up that your client needs a cover, but you know that the story that they're running with is a lie. Are you going to run that through the courts still?
No, I would not.
So what would you do?
Well, there are different options in place for those situations. If you realize that your client is pursuing, you know, one story and then you know it not to be true, it would be against your conscience to continue with the client. So what you could say, you could advise the client, you know, let's see how we could, manage the issue so that if it's a matter that he ought to plead guilty early, because if you plead guilty and you you don't allow a trial to go through and you waste the court's time, then you're entitled to a certain discount in terms of sentencing.
Yes.
So you can advise your client, you know, if you know you did it, plead guilty, depending on what it is, and then you may receive a discount in sentencing for being upfront with the court, not wasting the court's time.
Right.
Or you, if the client does want to go through with his false story, his or her false story, then you can say, you know what, I can no longer represent you, and I would advise you to seek other counsel. But if I'm going to put before the court that, you know, my client wasn't there when I know my client was there, then I would be continuing with a lie, and that would be, I mean, it would be unethical, and even my first judge is God. So even before I reach the court to the high court judge, God is my judge. So I have to answer to him even before I think of, you know, being honest with the, you know, I have to be honest to God. And once I'm honest with God, then I'm honest with everybody else. Yes, I mean, it's a challenge for lawyers because you want to help out your client the best you can. Right, and you want, but then you don't want to jeopardize your character. You don't want to jeopardize your relationship with God or your reputation because of that. So sometimes it's best to step aside. God will provide otherwise.
Okay, so one last thing before we get back into the meat of the matter. You notice we're straying a bit.
Yes, yes.
That's like a tendency on this program. You know, we always go, but we find out about one last thing. Are you like a Matlock? Win all the cases?
So far, I think, well, I haven't done much cases. I'm new at this. This month will make 3 years, and I've been more working from the office than. But for the cases, I think I've been successful. Let me just say that I've been successful.
Okay, so we have one Matlock. How about you, Sujala?
I don't even think it's even appropriate to use TV personality, and that's why I really look at various TV shows along that line. I know persons are very fascinated about it and about the concept of a win, because really and truly it all depends on the circumstances and in the context of my job, I'm not sure how to weigh a win.
Okay,
right?
so you had to
because
go
at the end of the day,
on me.
At the end of the day, somebody is hurt along the line, families, and it gets emotional. But that is really played up in the media, right?
Yes, but you had to go on media. You haven't said media. You had to go on lawyer on media, didn't you?
Well, it's not all. It really isn't. I would support Sujala because it really isn't all about winning and losing. And you would get when you get into the practice, you would realize that, because sometimes you may win, but to the expense of, you know, another party. So it's not really. If you just look at winning or losing, then you will not do your best to be as Sujala, as a Minister of Justice, because you know there are some prosecutors who may not uphold certain standards, and they would just go at, okay, I want this person, you know, to be you want him to be found guilty, you want him to go to jail. Right. If you're with that mindset that you just want to win, the temptation is greater for you to stray. So if something comes to your attention that you know will blow your case out of the water, you try to put it aside and hide it. When a Minister of Justice, you know, as a prosecutor, you should bring all matters to the court's attention, even though it may be prejudicial to your case. And not only for prosecution, but for even attorneys in private practice. If you come across a precedent that you know may just blow your case straight out of the water, you know, you still have to bring that to the attention of the court. So that way, if you think of just winning and losing, then you're like, okay, if the court doesn't know about this, if the other attorney doesn't know about it, that's him. But if you come across it, then you have to say, no, this, you know, my lord or my lady, this has come to my attention, and you deal with it that way.
Okay, so I guess somebody needs to write the TNT Law and Order. That's for another time. That's for another program, another time, right?
Criminal prosecution. That's what you should do.
Yeah. Okay. So because we're coming for time, the Caribbean Advocates. Tell us a bit about that, Sujala. I'm picking on you now because Mandela deal with SVG Advocates.
Right. Well, coming to Advocates Caribbean. Now we mentioned Advocates SVG, and Advocates Caribbean is basically a fraternal branch.
Yes.
And it goes beyond Advocates Caribbean. We go to Advocates International. So it's a universal entity of Christian professionals, not just lawyers, but there are parliamentarians, there might be doctors. So it varies from country to country. When we launched, as Mandela indicated, we got tremendous support from Lawyers for Jesus. Now they are part of Advocates Caribbean, and now
Trinidad,
we
right?
too, right, Lawyers for Jesus in Trinidad. So we are partnering with this organization, and the conference that we would discuss in details, this is the fourth biannual conference. So that this organization is coming to St. Vincent to offer us an exceptional opportunity to receive information that we otherwise would not have been privy to, because these are experts within their fields, whether lawyers or judges, but they are Christian lawyers and judges coming with a particular perspective on certain issues. So you get the law, you get the Christian perspective, and you get the practical. Right?
So it's a well-balanced meal. Okay, so on November 7th through the 9th, Advocates SVG partnering, I'm guessing partnering with
Well, we're
Advocates
facilitating Advocates Caribbean, because as Sigil would have mentioned, we're a part of Advocates Caribbean. Also a part of Advocates Caribbean is Advocates Barbados, Advocates Guyana, Lawyers for Jesus, as Sigilla would have mentioned, in Trinidad and Tobago, and the Jamaican Lawyers Christian Fellowship in Jamaica. And Advocates International has over 40,000 members in 158 countries around the world. Yes, so Advocates Caribbean is having its conference on fundamental rights and freedoms. Free indeed. That's the theme for this year's conference.
Right. You just knocked me ahead, so I'm gonna slide up a bit on my tablet.
Oh, sorry.
Right. Okay. So on the 7th, you are having an opening ceremony.
Yes.
At the
Beachcombers
Hotel.
at Villa.
Okay. So tell us a bit about that. Is it open to the public? Because it's a gala, so I'm guessing that's a no anyway. So
Really?
Well, it's a gala dinner, and we would love to say everybody come. You know.
Right.
But there's a cost associated with it, because you know we have to pay the hotel and all of this.
Right.
So it's 120 EC for the gala dinner, and you'll have worship. Advocates SVG will be doing the worship. Also, you have opening remarks by the Honorable Madam Justice of Appeal Alice York Suhan, and the keynote speaker will be our Reverend Dr. George Frederick that evening. So, and of course, it'll be a lovely, sumptuous 3-course meal. That's, you know, so you have your spiritual food, and you have, you know, you leave there content. You leave there very.
Exclusive is going to delve into that.
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're pressing now to the end of this segment.
Right.
On Saturday the 8th, you're having the full conference.
Yes, on Saturday 8th, registration begins at 8 a.m., but the conference will begin from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And well, it will begin with worship, and throughout there will be different sessions. There is a barrister law in England, Mr. Paul Diamond. He would be doing, I believe he'll be doing the opening session, exploring fundamental rights and freedoms, freedom of belief, conscience, religious freedoms, and he's very well versed in religious liberty cases. Also, Mrs. Ruth Ross, who is the Deputy Executive Director of the Global Council of Advocates International. She'll be coming from Canada, and she'll be dealing with a topic such as contending for your faith. And Mrs. Hyacinth Griffith, attorney at law in Trinidad and Tobago, she is going to be looking at the case study of Professor Brendan Bain. That was a university professor who was fired because of his because of what he shared at the court in Belize in relation to the constitutional issue and the repealing of the Buggery laws. So it's going to be a packed event. I mean, you're going to get, also that would interest you. There's going to be a topic on the fundamental rights and freedoms in relation to the press. So I think that you would definitely want to be there on the Saturday, and all members of the press will want to be there for that. And then Saturday evening, we have a cocktail reception from about 6:30 to 9:30.
Okay, and on Sunday, the wrap-up
the
day,
cost for the Saturday event is 200 EC.
Okay.
And the cocktail reception would be 40 EC.
Okay. And on Sunday, the wrap-up day, Sigilla, I'm putting this on you because I think by now everybody who knows about gospel events have seen you and they exalt him on front leading out.
They see me.
So, well, I would believe that I always see it. So I don't know. They probably see it too, right? That on that day, on the Sunday, it will be praise and worship to set a tone, a special session on praise and worship. So tell us a bit about that. What can persons expect on Sunday night?
It will be Sunday morning, and we know generally that as we invite church leaders, some may have commitments to their church, but we're hoping to transform a Beach Comas Hotel into a sanctuary just for that moment in that morning session as we say goodbye to the delegates. Before they go back home, they should get Vincentian worship, and it's not just Vincentian worship because it's universal, but in terms of the
way we do it,
the infusion of our culture, so that when we come together, we are hoping always half the session that people will be thoroughly blessed. Yeah?
Right. Okay, and when does registration close?
It closes on the 31st of this month.
Okay.
So that leaves, 31st of October. It leaves very little time, but that gives enough time for people to make their decision nonetheless.
Okay, and for you law students and everything, this is really important. You guys need to check this out, okay? All right, wrapping up on this session, I'm guessing we're gonna have to do this in 2 parts eventually. But at the end of the day, after this interview, after the conference on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of December, how do you guys want to be remembered? First off, as Advocates SVG, how do you want Advocates SVG to be remembered? I guess I should start with Mandela.
I want Advocates SVG to be remembered as a group of Christian lawyers who truly make a difference and an impact for Jesus Christ in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and across the region in the world.
Okay, and Sigillo?
I want people to understand that as we all have our professional pursuits, whether as lawyers or teachers, wheresoever the decision is made, whatever path we choose, that we must serve Jesus and everything else fades into, the wind.
Seek ye first the kingdom.
So yes, we should seek, not just to be enriched, but, financially, but to enrich our souls, because that is what would last anyways.
Okay, and now we're bringing it down now to the personal level, the high level that I show to everybody. How do you personally want to be remembered?
When people remember me, I want them to smile, and I want them to think that this person has made a difference in my life, whether it's in a small way or in a great way. I just want them to be able to smile.
Okay, so you want to be remembered as a smile motivator.
I don't even believe I'm going to say this, but I think I'd express something to a group of friends, especially in my ministry, Exalt Him Worship Ministry. We're having a session, and I mentioned I would describe myself as a quiet fire. And it was hilarious at the time, but when I think about it now, because of my personality, and even persons who know me now, they would not believe I actually opted to be a lawyer, because I always wanted to operate behind the scenes. But there comes a time when things are to be done, they must be done. There are reasons to advocate for, and there needs to be advocate. So if that has to be me, it has to be me. So in my quiet times, I'm quiet, but when it's time to come from there will be fire.
Okay, so you want to be remembered as the quiet fire.
Interesting.
That's some dangerous. Anyway, so I'm guessing we probably made half an hour right now. So when I bring on your colleagues, this will be part 2.
Okay.
Right? So I want you guys to just send out a happy independence to St. Vincent as we're about to close. Happy independence. Vincent to the morning. Vincent.
After all this cheerleading from Jerome, on behalf of IKTV, can I say that?
Not sure.
And Advocates SVG, we take this opportunity to wish our nation a happy 31st 35th,
Yes.
sorry, independence, we hope that God would see all of us through.
Okay. And your personal message to the nation.
Yes, happy independence in Vincent and the Grenadines as we celebrate 35 years as an independent nation. And I pray that God would truly bring us together, break down the walls of division. And I pray that this nation would seek Christ and seek righteousness.
All right, so guys, you've just seen what has now become a part one that should have been a first segment. You've just seen a part one of what is an exclusive on IKTV. We are speaking about Advocates SVG and their conference, Fundamental Rights and Freedom. Now, in part two, we're going to have a little bit more information about, not just about the conference, but about what is our fundamental rights and freedom. All right, keep watching IKTV. I'm your host, Jerani Zilan Richardson. You can follow me on Twitter at Jerani_Zilan. All right, see you on the next episode.
That it makes me feel, and if I am a reflection of him, then I must be fly, because his light, it shines so bright. I wanna lie.